Hey folks, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to talk a little bit about map setup and grind setup basics. Here you can see we're on MEDVED TAIGA. This is one of our favorite maps for moose grinding. And so I'll go into some tips and topics that relate to map setup, tent placement, zones, tripods, tree stands for hunting pressure. You can see you're looking at our map overview. First thing we did was we went through and we opened up all the zones. So we went to the lookouts. That's a great, easy way to find where the outposts that are permanent are located. And so that's the first thing that we did. The second thing we did was we went around and we just started working each zone looking for water drink locations, specifically for moose in this scenario. So some of the things to consider when you set up your map, it's good to have some money in your account. So just going out, hunting some of the maps to build up your financial value so that you can buy the things that you need to get that map set up. As you can see, we have a little over 600,000. A lot of that's come from this grind. We've also spent a lot time doing time changes for zones, setting up our tents. So when it comes to tents and tripods, each map you're limited to 16 tents and 32 tripods. So you have to be really mindful about where your tent placement is because 16 tents go pretty quickly and they run about $16,000 a piece. So it's a pretty big investment up front. We kind of started doing it is we'd find a zone, we'd return to that zone. If it was a distance away from an outpost, then we would just set a tent up so we could eliminate the travel and the time spent. So as you can see here, we call it Big Lake, but it's Bolshoi Lake. This is one of our favorite zones. A lot of times there is tons of moose traffic here. And so we've really set this up as one of our main harvesting zones. So when we come back here after we've set up herd management, we also harvest ones and twos out of this zone, just so that we can get a good respawn and just continue to farm these animals. So as you can see, this is a fairly expansive lake. When we first set up, we would leave this outpost and walk around the entire lake. And what you don't realize is game speed, depending on your PC, that can take a lot of time, which is also money in the end because you got to reset your time changes to get the drink zones to populate. So what we ended up doing is we set a tent at one end of the lake and at the other. This way we can shoot this side. We can fast travel over here and shoot the other side. For your moose. So nothing's coming in to render. There's a group. This is something I want to talk about in a later video, but you can actually exit to main menu and return to your game. And a lot of times your drink zones where you aren't populating, you can get them to populate. So we'll slide back out here, take a look, and sure enough, there they are. Got a nice 4 and a 2. And ultimately we'll end up taking that 4, leaving the 2, jump up into the tripod, take the shot, and then we'll shoot this zone because a lot of times these ones won't spook immediately, so you can shoot one zone, they'll turn, and you can shoot the other zone. And then from here we can also swing around and look down the lake and see if we have anything in the zones that'll render, which means that the moose are not too far that they actually appear in the map. So something to think about. When you're setting up your zones, make it easy. You want to be efficient, so you want to get these to where you can shoot a zone, quickly pick up your kills, move over to the other side of the lake, shoot your zones, and pick up your kills. So you'll see we have tents in the locations where we have the most success. A lot of these lakes, these intermediate lakes, smaller lakes, especially these ones out here, we've spent some time. We leave a tent here just so we can check in on them. But most of these zones we've shot down to just 2s specifically. That way we don't have to go back to those zones. We know that there are just 2s there. We're not going to have any respawn potential. There is, every once in a while in some of these zones, a 3 or 4 might show up. Here's an example of a zone where we still maintain a tent because we've shot it down. And I'll kind of show you that as we go down to this lake, we only have 2s here. We don't have to worry about spending time, especially if we're setting up a grind. So as we head down to the lake, you can see we have a tree stand set up. We used to have 2 shooters in this zone, so we always wanted to ensure that we were keeping the hunting pressure down, and you do that by using tree stands and tripods. Now, I can't emphasize this enough, that hunting pressure is pivotal in keeping your zones intact. We have had at least 2 zones, possibly 3, where we've put too much hunting pressure on those zones and we've lost those need zones or drink zones. So as you can see here, we have a 2 there and a 2 here. We leave this intact. We don't shoot these 2s because we don't want to come back to this zone. So there's lots of lakes. Emphasis to you is to open up your map, work around your zone, come up with a system, hit every lake, and determine how you want to attack this. Because it's important to keep in mind, if you're going to do herd management, your herd numbers down to 2s, the general rule is 70%. So as you get these down to 2s, you eliminate zones one by one. Some of these zones won't have any bulls at all. Some will just have cows, and some won't have any animals at all. We found that with these small lakes up here, that there just isn't any drink zones for moose on our map. Now, it could be different on yours. For us, we don't have anything there, so we don't even have to spend any time here. So here's one other thing. There are secret lakes on certain maps. If you can find those, they're usually pretty productive, have a lot of moose, especially on MEDVED. But whatever species you're hunting, just keep those things in mind. You know, are you checking all the areas? Are you finding all the zones? And so you can see, like here, we have 2 tripods set up. We can look down to this lake here from this tripod. We can look down to the bottom of this hidden lake. And we have another tripod so we can shoot the upper end of this lake. If the wind's bad, we used to have a tent here. We can come over here and shoot this part of the lake as well. We used to have 3 tents set up on this lake. We no longer have any shootables here. Cows in all zones, so we don't even spend any time. We just haven't pulled our equipment. We got our last great one 3 days ago and just haven't spent a whole lot of time grinding on MEDVED since then. So like I said, you know, work through your zones, get some of those outer zones that you really don't prefer shot down to 2s only, and then really focus on your primary zones for farming. Like I said, we use the big lake a lot because we can get around it quickly. So we get this knocked down. Once we just start seeing a lot more 2s populate, we actually start to take a few of the 2s out of those herds, and they'll come back as 3s and 4s. If you do this, it is, in fact, true that herd management works. We are up to 50 diamonds in just over 2,800 total kills. If you do herd management, it will work for you. You will see bigger moose. You will find more diamonds. It works. So we do like these outer zones too because they're quick to get to. We usually shoot them, jump on a 4-wheeler, and head out there, pick up the moose. It just helps the speed of the game. Keep in mind the 4-wheeler does have a large spook radius, so not something that you want to run around on in your smaller zones. You want to shoot your zones first, then pick up your animals. That's just how we do it. So we'll climb up here, take a quick look at the zone. I think we shot this one down to 2s. So we have 1, 2 here. This is a prime example. I'm going to take that 2 out. Shot. Should have been a long shot. Oh no. Not a good shot. So we can follow up here. He comes out. There he is. So not my best shooting. That's something we'll talk about in a later video. You know, getting opportunities to shoot where you have more success. You can see he's stuck. Wonderful glitches of the game. We'll put one more in him. And that should do it. So just recapping, looking at our map. So first thing, go around to all the lookout points signified by a pair of binoculars. Open up your entire map. If you want to do this quickly, I recommend, going, once you have your first outpost, grabbing a four-wheeler and just run into those lookouts with a four-wheeler. It's going to speed it up. You'll be able to get those outposts and lookouts opened up much quicker. And then you can focus on setting up your map however you like. And then lastly, starting to work on tent placement. So just keep in mind you're going to have quite a bit of money in your account. Those tents are $16,000 a piece. Tree stand, tripods are also $16,000 a piece. So just work through it. We didn't have a lot of money when we started this grind. I think we started with 40 or 50,000, and we just slowly kind of progressed and added stuff as we had the money available. It's really up to you how you want to set it up. And for today, I think that's it. Please like and subscribe, and be ready for some more interactive videos coming in the future. Part 2 will be talking about game speed and kill rates, and so we'll hit some highlighted topics on that in the next video. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.